And we're live. So welcome to my weekly Facebook Live here in Reclaim Your Wild, business coaching with Shannon Whaley. And today, the topic of the regular Monday anti-hustle business training that we will be talking about today is six ways to hit your income goals. So, there's obviously more than 6 ways, but these are what came to mind as I was really starting to think about this. And I wanted to share with you because also I'll be talking about some of the ways that I see people stalling their success, or like if you're in that start-stop cycle, some of these might be contributing to that. So I would love to hear, as I'm going through this, what you're hearing for yourself, maybe what you're seeing, and like where you need to kind of like kick things up. As you may know, we are in the launch for the mastermind. And so these are all the things that we're going to be working on in the mastermind. The essential pod is 60% sold out, and there are 5 spots left in the expansion pod. So there's still some space, and yeah, all of this stuff's going to be covered in there. So I'll just start with the first thing. So one of the things that I see going on when people are like, I haven't made any sales, or my program's not launching the way that I want it to, or I'm not getting the signups that I want to. And then I go look at their Facebook page and I look at where they're hanging out and on Instagram. And I notice that there's very little mention of the program that they're selling, and that there's no sales posts or no clear call to action. And I'm like, well, this might have something to do with it. So not selling enough is like the number one thing that I have here on this list, because this is something that I see a lot of, especially newer coaches, obviously. I feel like those who are further along understand the importance of selling every day. But there's like a lot of feelings that comes with selling every day, and that comes with showing up that bold, that audaciously, and like really just stepping into that level of a business owner. And let's see. Awesome. There is an art to also selling every day, because there are lots of feelings that come up, especially if you have heard about the 80-20 rule, which is an old way of marketing that was like really drilled into us. So I've been coaching since 2015, and that was all that I heard. You want to give 80% value and 20% sales. And so if you take that literally, that means that, and then that also means that you need to be showing up every day, especially if you want to be getting your sales posts out there, right? So it means that out of like 8 posts, I'm not good at math. We'll just go with me here, that you're like, out of like, I don't know, every 7 to 8 posts, you're going to do 1 sales post. How long? So if you're following that rule, but you're also not consistent on social media, talk about a way to shoot yourself in the foot, right? If you haven't built up that resiliency, if you haven't built up that confidence, if you don't trust that you're not annoying people, that people want to hear about your offer, that they need to hear about it multiple times in multiple ways over a stretch of time, right? There's different kinds of buyers. And some people just need to hear over and over and over again, and they're going to go through the entire launch and watch you and then sign up at the very last moment. They don't give a shit if they're going to save money during early bird. They don't give a shit, right? Like, and maybe if there's limited spots, they'll finally get in because they're like, yeah, I've been watching, but I was just, I just needed some time to decide. So like, imagine if you were only selling once a week? And now you're also going against the algorithm as well. So you see how this equation doesn't work. And so the work that I do with my clients is to help them really trust and believe and know that everything that you put out is value. It's not like a special, like 80% value and then only the sales posts. Like, make your sales posts valuable, teach along the way, give them valuable content, but then also believe that there's value in your content when you are sharing your day, or maybe you're sharing stuff like I've been talking about sobriety a lot today. That has, like, I'm a business coach. I don't coach around sobriety. A lot of my clients and community members choose to look at their relationships with alcohol when they're working with me. I have many clients who have gotten sober or have at least like accumulated some months as they've been working with me, right? And so, like, that is valuable. That is building my brand. That's letting people know that they can bring whatever they are coming to the calls with, or whatever's going on in their life, that they can bring that to me because I can coach them through it. I have to trust that that's value. Now, if I had this like whole convoluted, well, like I can talk about that, but it's like not really anything business related. So now I have to like post something business related, but like, what if I've posted too much today and I've already posted a couple times, so I'll just probably post tomorrow, but then how many do you see how like that's not working? So what you will learn in the mastermind is how to sell every day and how to really hold yourself through that, because it brings up a lot of feelings. Am I annoying people? Am I being too salesy? Or like, I'm annoying people. I feel like I'm being too salesy. I feel like I shouldn't be selling like this, like, let alone once a day. What comes up for you when I tell you to sell multiple times a day in different places? Go sell on Instagram, go sell on your page, find the groups where you can promote and then show up in there and then sell on those promo days. Like, really starting to build the trust in yourself and to like build that grit so that you can just, like, with no shame, with no feelings attached to it, just fucking sell what you're selling. That's the way that you're going to really increase your income and hit your income goals. Obviously, if you're selling more, there's more likelihood and chance that you're going to get hired. So that's number one. The second one is to pick a strategy and stick with it. One of the things that I see just kill launches and kill any sort of momentum is switching your strategy mid-launch because you don't think that it's working. I will use this mastermind as an example. When I started the mastermind launch a couple weeks ago, there were only 2 renewals, and there were 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 seats open. And so this launch went from, how the fuck am I going to pull this off, to now one pod has 6 people, another pod has 1 person, and they're filling up, right? Those sales just came in over the weekend, a lot of them, or within the last week. So what happened during my promotional event? Barely any signups. But you better believe that my mind was going like, what do I do? What do I do? And I know that switching the strategy isn't the answer. One thing that I work on with all of my clients is really teaching them how to hold themselves through the discomfort of launching, because it is uncomfortable until you've really built your chops, until you've really got this down. And sure, we tweak things as we go. We pay attention to what worked, what didn't work, what felt good, what didn't feel good, so that when we have the next launch, we make one small tweak or maybe just a couple little tweaks, but we don't like change the entire launch. We don't change the entire strategy. We just make small little, and I talked about this before, but like, it's just like with science, right? Where if you are testing a hypothesis and you need to make some changes, you literally change one thing and then test that and see, and then compare the results to the first thing, right? And then you maybe see where there's correlations and where you see how this goes. And then on the next time you change one thing that you think might be the correlation, right? And then you test that out and then you examine your data. So if you are switching your strategy and moving from selling something and then freaking out because it's not selling fast enough or you didn't get the signups and you think, oh, I'm just going to sell something cheaper. I see it backfire for so many people. And when you start doing this stuff, it really starts to chip away at your confidence, because then what happens is you're like, I don't fucking know what anybody wants. I thought they wanted this program. So I created this big, like robust one-on-one program and nobody wanted it. And I like talked about it for a couple weeks, but I didn't sell any. And so then I started selling like one-off sessions for $50 and then nobody signed up for those either. And it's not the thing that you're selling at that point. It's that your brain and your body and your whole system are not on board for the thing that you're selling. And that is key. You have to be fully bought in. So that leads me to number 3, which is you have to be fully bought into your program, to your goals, to your pricing, to your desires. You have to own that shit. And if there's any part of you that is still feeling feelings about building wealth, making lots of money, making more money than your partner or your friends or your peers, if there's any like weirdness around what you want, you're going to repel. You're not that's not welcoming energy, right? And so you have to claim it, own it, decide that what you want is already on the way. Decide that you want is totally possible. Decide that it's a matter of when and not if, and then make choices and other decisions from that one decision. Move from that decision. But if you're wishy-washy and you're not quite sure that this is going to sell, or like, I'm not quite sure if this business is going to work, but then you're trying to like sell and build a business, but behind the scenes, you're not owning it. You're not doing the mindset work. That is rocky. That is a very rocky foundation. The way that manifestation works and all of this works is that you have to believe it before it actually comes, so that when it comes, you're like, oh yeah, I knew that this was already on the way because I've been journaling on this. I've been like dreaming about this. I've been doing visioning exercises about this. Of course it's on the way. You have to be fully bought in. It's so important, especially to be fully bought into whatever it is you're selling. Because if you're not on board, if you're still like, I don't really know like why people would buy this, fucking good luck trying to sell it. Because if you don't know why somebody would buy it, no one else is going to know why they want to buy it. So you have to be sold on what you're doing, on what you're selling, on all of the things before this really starts to click in and lock in. So number 4 is, now that you are fully bought in on your program, knowing how to talk about it. So if you are wishy-washy on your program, you're not fully bought in, your content isn't going to be fire. It's not going to be as electric or magnetic as if when you're like, this program is so fucking good. I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait to show up. I can't wait for the people who are going to be joining us. I'm so excited to be welcoming these people in because I know that this is an opportunity for them to really transform their love life, their business, their health, whatever it is, right? And so when you're fully bought in, when you own the program, own your genius of what you're doing, you can talk about your program in such a different way. So really knowing how to show up, own what you're selling, and being able to talk about it in a way that the ideal client for that program can understand. So from their words. And so some ways to do this is pay attention to what they're asking about in your group, if you have one, or if you're in somebody else's group and it's similar to like what you're doing, and maybe they're asking a similar question, pay attention to what the answers are. Pay attention to the questions that people are asking in the group. If you're right, like if you're in a group where you're kind of borrowing somebody's audience for now, take a poll, ask questions yourself. You can do free calls. Doing free calls is a really great way to learn exactly what your ideal client for your specific program is struggling with, what they want, who they want to be, how they want to show up, what they want to experience. And you can give them an opportunity to get coached by you to see how powerful it is to be supported by you. And so when you are doing those free calls, record them, take notes, let them know that you're taking notes. Like, this is good stuff. And I just want to make sure that I'm keeping track, and, that because then what you're coming out with are direct quotes of your ideal client. Do you ever feel like you're ... Maybe sometimes you think about ... and you're using now, like, of course, like, don't use like so specific that the person's like, oh, she's fucking for sure talking about me, right? So like you can make it more generalized, but having this exact language and using that in your content is going to perk the ears of the people who need to be and want to be in this program with you. So really learning how to talk about your program, learning how to own it and really step into it and show up for the people who are meant to be in this program with you. So the fifth way for you to crush your income goals in 2023 is to get really specific about your niche and who you help, so that people know that you're talking to them. There's lots of opinions about this, and so this is mine, but when you are not specific about who you help and what you do and what you help people with, people are going to know who you help, what you do, or what you help them with. If you're all over the place and it's too broad, the people that you want to be calling in aren't going to fucking know that you're talking to them. So that's great. If you're multi-passionate, if you have lots of things that you can help people. I mean, I have lots of things that I can help people with, like under the umbrella of business coaching, right? And so this is why sometimes you'll see me talking more specifically. Maybe for like a week, I'll choose to talk about sales. And then maybe another week, I'll choose to talk about storytelling, so that the focus, at least for some amount of time, is specific to the thing that we're going to be talking about in the mastermind, or the thing that we're going to be covering in the program that I'm selling, right? So this is where I see, especially like more general life coaches, get really tripped up, is because they don't know how to talk about what all of the things that they do. And if you don't know how to talk about all of the things that you do, your audience is certainly not going to understand or even be able to like comprehend how you help people. What are the results that you help people right? Like, how are you going to move them forward with the thing that they're struggling with? So my recommendation for people who have like more of like a general life coaching or like health coaching is just pick one segment of your audience and maybe you just focus on them for 30 days. Trust that, I mean, there's 12 months in the year, so you can pick 12 different topics if you want to. But for 30 days, let's say you're a health coach, right? And you can help people with like literally anything. So maybe for your one-on-one program, you decide that for the month of May, you're going to be talking about IBS. That's something that you're passionate about because you love helping people and you love helping them like solve this problem. So that's what you talk about. You can even throw in there, like, of course I help people with other issues, but this is what we're focusing on for the month of May. You can let them know that if you have any other questions about stomach related issues, about pooping, about like digestion, whatever, send me a DM, comment below, happy to answer your questions or whatever, right? So like you can let them know that like I have a wide range of things that I help people with. This is just what we're focusing on today or this month, right? So at least for the month, you can get specific and just talk about one thing. Because also one thing that I see people doing is that they're trying to just like spray out all of the things that they can help people with. And it's like not cohesive sometimes. And so when you get specific about your niche and people understand what you do, they understand the results, they understand your process. Is that how do you have a framework that you use? What can they expect on the calls with you? How do you do your intake sessions? Those sort of things. So like walk them through this whole process so that they know how they're going to be fully supported by you. So get specific, talk about like very specific things. When you paint too broad of a picture, there's nothing for people to like grasp onto. Even if it's not their specific issue or concern, it starts to give them an idea of like, oh, they know what they're fucking talking about. Oh, I can see that they're super knowledgeable about X, Y, and Z. I wonder if they also have this information. It gets them interested, right? Number 6, consistency. There is lots of different talk about you don't need to be consistent. You do need to be consistent. Consistent action yields consistent results. You're going to hear me talking a lot about fitness and the correlation or like the parallels between fitness and business. We know that if you go to the gym twice a month, you are probably not, most definitely not going to see any results, right? You can say you go to the gym. That's what you can do. If you post a sales post twice a month, what do you suppose your results are going to look like? But you can say you have a business because like you have tried to sell things. Now imagine if you go to the gym 5 days a week. What do you think those results are going to look like compared to the 2-day a month person? Obviously, we know the answer. The same thing goes for your business. My recommendation to my clients is show up Monday through Friday like you have a fucking business. We've all had jobs, right? I'm assuming we've all had jobs. You've shown up, you've managed to show up for how many years for that shitty job to get a paycheck, right? Show up for your business the same way you showed up for that shitty job so that you can get a paycheck eventually. This pays off. The people who are saying like, oh, you don't need to be super consistent are usually much further along than if you're just getting started. I don't have to post every day because I've been doing this for 8 fucking years. I have so much content. I've built the trust of my community. I have a team handling posting in different places. So like, no, I personally don't have to post every day, but there's something going up every day. There's an email going out 3 times a week. There's posts going up in here in the Facebook group, right? When you get further along, you have more freedom in that sense. But when you are just starting out and you're following the advice of like, oh, you don't need to be consistent. Oh, you don't really need to show up every day. Bad advice, in my humble opinion. Consistency is key, especially when you're new to this, especially when your community doesn't necessarily know what you do or what coaching is. If you're new to coaching, chances are your community is new to coaching. Your friends and family probably don't understand what you do, which also means that like the strangers, if you have them on your Facebook page, don't understand what you do. There is a huge component of educating your community about what coaching is, what your coaching style is, what you've learned as a coach, like as a client too. Like, what have you learned as a client? There's so much value in teaching your community about the value of coaching. Why would somebody hire a coach like you? Why did you start your business? What did you go through? And like, usually people become coaches because they wished that they had existed when they were going through their thing, right? Or they had some learning moment or like aha moment, and they're like, I got to teach people this stuff. Talk about that. Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you going through coach training? Have you gone through coach training? Talk about your credentials. Like, you have to educate your community about the value of the work that you're doing. When you are fully bought into your program, when you know what you're selling, when you are fully behind your pricing, when you are owning your desires and you're claiming it and you're showing up and you know who you're talking to in your marketing, consistency is not a problem. If you are having trouble staying consistent, that means I want to have a conversation with you about what's missing here from this equation that I just talked about today. Do you not know what you're selling? Are you not fully behind it? Like, what work do we need to be doing to maybe like ramp up or like revamp your program so that you know exactly what you're selling, why it's fire, why people need to buy it? Because when you have fully owned it and you know exactly what you're selling, you can't shut up about what you're selling. And so then the consistency is a non-issue because you just have ideas coming all of the time. I had to like pause some of the posts that I was making today because I had been like rapid fire, like download after download after download. And I had to put some of my posts into Voxer so that I could like schedule them out. Because I've got so much to say about the work that I do. If that's not where you are, then I invite you to join us in the mastermind, because this is exactly what we're going to talk about and the work that we'll be doing together. I want to help you feel so confident about what you're selling that you cannot shut the fuck up about it. I want you to be so annoying and just own the fact that you're the best at what you do and that you just cannot stop talking about it because it's so fucking good. And you're so excited for all of the people who are going to be joining, and you're just on fire. You just become so magnetic and people are drawn to you and they want to hear about what you're selling and what you're talking about because they love you. And this is the power of really connecting to your community. There are 4 spots left in the Essential Pod. I have 2 separate pods for 2 different kinds of business owners. So one, if you are making 0 to 5K a month in your business, there's business training. I have my business managers coming in to also do an operations call. So if you need help with tech, any sort of tech support, back-end business support, there's a monthly call to help you with that. There's also going to be themes every month where I'll be doing a business training and you'll focus on figuring out who the fuck you're talking to with your programs, refining your program, really nailing your messaging, stepping into new pricing. That's also how you're going to hit your income goals in 2023, is looking at your pricing, really refining your offer. And this goes for either pod, right? Of like, where do we need to add things, maybe take things away? Like, what does this need to look like? Like, are you pricing things in a way that makes sense, that actually feel good, so you're being fully supported and you feel fully resourced? all of those things. So there's 4 spots left in that essential pod. And then there's 5 spots left in the expansion pod, which is for people who are making 5 to 15K a month. You have programs that you've sold, you know how to sell. There's always an opportunity for, even at my level, at multiple 6 figures, there's always an opportunity for me to get better at selling, to refine the offer and to refine, like I'm always changing things. The mastermind, I've changed a bunch of things this round. Ignite is going to be changing and being rebranded next round. So we're always changing things, learning how to talk about them in a different way, right? So the expansion pod is really for the coach and service provider who you know how to sell, you are stepping into your CEO mindset, and you are ready to start scaling yourself out of your business a bit more. So now we're looking at more one-to-many, so like more workshops, retreats, group programs, courses, that sort of thing. And we're having different conversations at that level of business. So you get your own business training call. There's only 6 people in that pod, so you get more time with me on the pod calls. And then there's also monthly one-on-ones with myself and with VP, who is the support coach. So send me a message if you are on the fence. We still have I'm still talking to a couple people who have locked into the early bird pricing. And so we haven't changed the website over yet. So if you are still on the fence and you want to save $300 if you're a new client, $600 if you are a current or former client. If you're a current or former client, make sure that you send me a message and I'll get you the discount code. And yeah, let's have a conversation. I'm doing a sales call today. I have some space later this week. So if you need to talk to me, we can set up a call if you want me to help you walk through this. Otherwise, just send me a DM and we can like voice chat back and forth there. Cool. Let me know what you're hearing for yourself as you watch this and watch the replay. And I will see you all next week at the same time, 12 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Central European summertime, baby. All right. Take care. Bye.